The Buffalo Bills fall extremely flat against the Cincinnati Bengals and let history repeat itself from last year's divisional playoff round. And the Sabres are at 500 on the season with some ups and downs so far. All of this and more on this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. All right, let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Cali, and as always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, I think I'm going to title this one "Doom and Gloom: The Sequel" because this is arguably worse than what happened. I mean,
when someone picked the game right on Friday,
you did pick the game right. I'll give you all the credit for that. Okay, listen,
I appreciate that.
There was an equal going into this game. The Bengals were favored by 2.5 points in most markets. I would say the Bills did have a good chance. We saw in the game the Bills had a good chance, except they didn't score a touchdown after the first quarter until the fourth quarter. So, I mean, that would help if you had something going on in between there. But, I mean...
Yeah, didn't score their second touchdown until their last offensive play of the game.
Yeah, right, exactly. And, you know, we'll talk more. We'll dive into the details here in a minute. But, I mean, no highlights today. As you've probably noticed, the routine is... when the Bills lose and there aren't very many good highlights, we don't run them because there's nothing to really be excited about here. But we do have the Dom 5 coming up. But before we dive into all that, just general thoughts, I guess, dealing with the fallout right now after a couple days.
Sorry, I was just adjusting my mic a little bit, but yeah, it's a tough moment, obviously, to fall to 5-4 and now be officially out of the playoffs. At
Pittsburgh Steelers have a better record than you at this point, don't they?
That's what it is at that point. I think they're gonna have to go on a run these last 8 games. Got to go at least 5-3, and it's not gonna be easy. I think the Bills have shown that they're really, with all the injuries on defense, have become more of an average team over the course of a month. So I think that's enough of a sample size to say that they're an average team. But I think they can still become an above average team. I would say there were some positives. I thought they played better than I thought going into the game. I didn't.
That is one thing. Yeah.
I mean, I know I had the score like 35-31, but like I thought they were going to get railroaded a little bit. But they competed, which, I mean, isn't that much solace, but I think the biggest positive I could take away from that game is I think there's 2 teams in the AFC that I would go in thinking that the Bills are definitely going to lose, and that would be the team they just played, the Cincinnati Bengals in Baltimore.
Yeah, the Ravens are looking like the best team in the AFC right now.
Even the Cowboys and the Eagles, you know, they play the Cowboys, Eagles, Chargers, Chiefs, Dolphins, Jets again, Pats again. And then obviously they're playing the Broncos on Monday. I think all 8 of those teams they can beat. I mean, obviously I think some of those teams are less likely than others, but I don't feel like going into those games they have kind of no chance. I didn't think they had a good chance. Really, I believe they had no chance. Really not a good chance of winning because of how well Cincinnati's playing. But at the end of the day, they had chances to win the game and they let it go. And I think that's my most frustrating part is
you had opportunities.
It's like the performance is one thing. Like they lost, it sucks.
You're 5-4, whatever.
I expected them to lose, so I wasn't really disappointed that they lost. I think I'm just more disappointed that game was really up for grabs. You know, Zach Taylor's decisions to constantly punt the ball away instead of going for it on 4th down. They go for it on 4th down near midfield, and they don't get it at one point as well. So it kind of felt like the Bengals just kind of, after that hot start, they were moving the ball, but they were kind of pulling the Bills, or they were moving the ball, but they weren't getting points. And I think that's the tough part, is that, you know, we talked about it ad nauseum on Friday, is you have to win the turnover battle. They don't force. I mean, I know they force a turnover on downs, but
Technically, yeah, but there's been no interception since the Dolphins game.
No interception since week 4.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't get, and they went over. They got 2 turnovers against them, and they were 2 big turnovers. I know the Josh pick didn't lead to anything, but that led to more time of possession coming off the clock, more time for the Bengals, and that Dalton Kincaid fumble. Well, Dalton, I think, had a fantastic game. I thought he played really well. That fumble's a tough moment because you're driving, you're in the red area. He's going to get he's probably going to get a first down, so you're probably going to have first and 10 at the 12, down 11.
Mm-hmm.
And that fumble just, it kind of killed a lot of momentum. The Bengals come down, you hold them to a field goal, and then you drive down, score a touchdown, and you get the 2-point conversion, which is the smart analytics play of going for 2 down 14 because you're likely to convert half your 2-point conversion. So if you get the first one, that means you have the opportunity if you get the ball again. And they just never got the ball again, which is unfortunate. It's definitely a tough loss not because of, I had this expectation that they were going to win the game, but I think throughout the game, it was kind of like, man, Cincinnati's still at 21. They're still at 24.
A worn-down defense held them to a field goal in the second half. You know what I mean? Like, you can't really blame it on a deflated defense at this point. The offense just stopped producing and taking advantage of those opportunities that, you start the game off in no huddle in tempo, right? You go right down the field, score a touchdown, make a statement against the Cincinnati team that has, is it a rivalry now? Like that, we were talking about that on Friday, and
No.
it's not. It's just, you got to go down and take advantage of what's presented to you, especially like you said. And like I said, the defense did their job in the second half. A deflated defense that's a lot of third string guys. Like, come on, like, go out there, run that no huddle, play backyard football. That's when you do your best. Stop trying to slow the game down and bring it into their world. Just make them follow you and fight after you. Stop trying to, you know what I mean? Do you get what I'm trying to say here? Like, you went down in tempo, and I get it. The excuse is the stadium is so loud. Yeah, our stadium's loud too, right? And I get it, home field, so they're not going to be as loud, whatever. You should be trustworthy enough of Josh Allen as the quarterback and the captain of that offense to make those play calls down there in the no huddle and just let it go. You give him, he has the call sheet on his wrist for a reason. Let him call the plays. Let them go down the field in tempo. Play backyard football, especially when the defense is doing their job the way it is. If they continue to score and do what they normally do, if they continue to do what they did on that first drive, that game would have been a win for the Bills. But no, we're going to slow it down. We're going to slow it down because it's too loud in the stadium. That's bogus, in my opinion. That's where I'm a little frustrated, honestly. I don't know if that's just me, but that's just where it is.
Yeah, there's too many short drives for the Bills offense. If you really look at it, they had a lot of opportunities in the game. When they were down 14-7, they get the ball. They move it to near midfield, but then they stall. And then Sam Martin, not a great day. Had some mediocre punts. I mean, had a real opportunity to punt them deep in the Cincinnati territory when they punted from their own 43. The Bengals get at their own 22. So that was a net with the return of 35 yards. You see the other punt that he had, that was a net of 37 yards. Another punt in the second half was a punt net of 44 yards. So just really not good enough. I mean, they had a lot of opportunities in this game, and it just simply was not good enough from all 3 phases of the ball.
Yeah,
to get the job done. And
you can blame that crazy intentional grounding call or whatever you want to say on the refs. That shouldn't have been the deciding factor in the excuse for the game. So whatever. I mean, if you want to roll into the fiver,
it's still unfortunate. But yeah, let's go into the down 5. Number 1. We're no more praising special teams.
Even though last week we said we do not, we're all for special teams.
Well, that's why the thing says number 1, no more praising them, Joseph.
Well, I know that. I'm just saying.
You silly boy. We talked about Tyler Bass being the greatest kicker of all time. Then he shanks 2 field goals.
Yeah.
We talked about how great Sam Martin was, and he was awful. I mean, just awful on Sunday.
I see people saying to trade him away or whatever, but you can't now. But
Special teams are just awful. They've just been awful. Special teams was a complete failure. They had the kickoff return that got tackled at the 15.
Mm-hmm.
They just had awful field position, and it's because they keep for every reason they keep returning kicks with this Ty Johnson, and he never gets to 25. And that's really a big thing about this offense. I feel like is that in that game they were just getting destroyed in field position so often that they would start at their own 10 and Cincinnati would start at their own 40. I mean,
it was uneven.
It's a big reason why the Cincinnati was able to finish drives and Buffalo kind of stalled. I mean, it's not everything, but yeah, special teams was awful, and they were awful on Sunday, and they were a failure on their end. Did not help the team win.
No, not at all.
Big advantage for the Bengals special.
Yeah, like you said, the Bills are starting on their own 10 most drives. They're starting on their 40-yard line. I mean, yeah, I'm done praising special teams because we're just the bad juju for them. So that'll be that after last week.
On to number 2, please. Dalton Kincaid is built different. I mean, this man, listen, gets his shin busted up, still even hobbles, still makes the catch for no yards. I know it was no gain. I mean, just
what a dog.
What a man.
Mm-hmm.
What a man. 10 catches on 11 targets. I was reading stats where if he has, I believe, 29 catches, I believe it's 29, I might be wrong, but 29 catches in the second half of the year, he'll pass Pete Meslar's record of most catches in a single season by a tight end.
Wow.
And you got to think, I'm going to double check that. I think it's 68. I think he's at 37. No, he's at 40. Yeah, it is 29 because this record is 68. So he's at 40 catches right now.
That's doable.
So I'm saying he's at 40 catches for.
And he's being used more now. So
I know he still only has 8.5 yards downfield. I mean average, but he's did a really good job. I know the fumble.
You're spiraling through the air at that point, though. The punch out,
it's just gotta be smarter. You didn't have to. You just gotta be smarter in that situation. Even if him not going airborne cost them the first down, he only gets 9 yards. They would have had 2nd and 1, and they were converting late in the game on 2nd and 1s with the QB sneak or the runs of Latavius Murray.
Mm-hmm.
So. No, that was a poor moment, but overall, he's played really well, and he's continued to grow, and he has 23 catches his last 3 weeks, which is very good production from the tight end position. Has 65+ yards,
and a rookie for that matter too.
65+ yards, each in the last 3 games. Hopefully, to get more in the end zone, only has that 1 touchdown, but yeah, I mean we said on Friday that we think he could have a big game, and. Most yards in a game, 81. Most receptions in a game, 10. He's a big. He was constantly open. He was getting open consistently for Josh, and I think we're starting to see that it's Diggs and Kincaid, and it's kind of a little bit everyone else. I want to mention Shakir as well because he went.
Yeah, he
went 4 for 4 in his targets as well, and he's kind of. I think he could even get more opportunity. Sorry.
No. Listen, Shakir, I'm sending the flowers for. I mean, I believe, was he the experiment, or was that the Kyer Elam thing? Or Shakir, the experiment's over?
Nah, man, we
looks like we have a new testing ground.
We at least said we should keep him on the roster for the year.
Yeah, I mean, look he's kind of showing out in these past couple weeks as a solid target for Allen. Kincaid is a fantasy manager who has him on multiple teams, and at 16 points, can't really complain about that from a rookie tight end again. Most receptions in the game. And like you said, that shin's busted up. He looks like he's hobbling off the field, but no, he takes that next snap and catches it for 0 yards, of course, but no gain. But come on, I mean, the fumble's one thing, right? Whatever. It would have been 2-1, like you said, if he went down. He's a rookie at the end of the day. Was hungry for it. Now probably won't make that mistake again. He'll go down for the 2nd and 1 or whatever, But he has turned out to be an amazing pick. If you go back to our draft special, we were kind of surprised by that pick. But he turns out to be this amazing draft pick where, like we said last week, Dawson Knox might have played his last snap as the starting tight end for the Buffalo Bills.
Starting time, but it's nice that you're 2 games into the 4 games without Knox, and
Yeah, you're still
getting good production from that position. But on to number 3. New additions making an impact. I think, you saw Rasul Douglas out there. He made some nice plays. Obviously, he was trying to tickle T. Higgins a couple times on 2 catches. That man is just T. Higgins just caught 2 balls and then.
Did you see him fly over the line of scrimmage on that one?
Nah, I don't think I did.
No, he just literally glided, hopped over. I couldn't believe it.
But no, good for T. Higgins on those 2 catches. But I thought Rasul Douglas played solid. Honestly, it was a great day for Dane Jackson. Obviously, you have Benford. We'll talk about that later. But
yeah,
I thought Douglas was really solid in the reps that he had, and then Leval Joseph, or as someone would say, Vinlaw. I don't know how anyone can possibly think that's
who said that.
I'm not going to announce the person, but they know who they are. Leval Joseph had a solid day. I think they did a better job against the run when he was in the game, so I think that was noticeable. Obviously, he had a nice play on the QB sneak with Joe Burrow, so I thought he was solid as well. And so the 2 new additions on defense, I thought both played a good role. And I don't know, that linebacker position, for some reason PFF graded Tyrell Dodson really well. I don't understand that. I thought he was awful on the goal line on that third down, 3rd and goal to 2, doesn't run fit properly and lets his gap score. And then I thought he was terrible, but
yeah, I would agree with that. I don't quite understand that metric either.
I don't understand how he was graded so well, but I thought he was awful. And well, I guess we'll talk about Bernard too as well. My gosh. All right, on the 4th.
Yeah, we'll chat after.
All coaching needs to improve.
That's a big one.
I was confused by the fact that they kept sending so many rushers at Burrow. I just don't think, with Burrow being healthy, that was the best defensive game plan. I understand being aggressive in certain moments, and it worked out in certain moments, but yeah, it's just frustrating for this defense of all they lost, that they really can't fully compete with them, and they just can't force turnovers. I mean, there was a fumble that the guy just happened to land straight back on. I'm pretty sure that was pretty close after the interception, I believe. Obviously, they did get the fourth down stop, but yeah, just a lot. I mean, they had some key 3rd down stops as well. It's not all on the defense, but the coaching, I thought, defensively, you're just gonna first 2 drives of the game just get smoked down the field. That's gotta improve. You just can't keep doing that. Offensively, as you alluded to, the up tempo just kind of ended. I liked that in the 4th quarter they kind of let Josh run a little bit more.
Yeah. How about we start that as the game plan? That would kind of be nice, wouldn't it? Let's go into a game letting our quarterback be our quarterback and
I thought Josh was all right. I think he missed some plays. Obviously, the interception was horrible.
Yeah.
I think he sometimes, the problem with Josh, holds his first read too often, just needs to move off and other guys are open. I think Shakir and Kincaid underneath are getting open all day. And then Diggs is Diggs. He'll make the grab. So he was effective again today. I mean, on Sunday. I keep saying today.
Yeah, he had that clutch touchdown towards the end.
And that 2-point conversion. So he was solid. I had to say, Gabe Davis getting the donut, the double bagel, 0 catches, 0 yards.
Grape Davis.
He did get face mask on the one, miscommunication with Josh. That caused the intentional grounding, which really I don't blame Gabe for, but yeah, he was bad. It's a situation though where I don't know. I just don't ever look at Gabe's stats anymore, and I just don't care enough because I know he's not the second option anymore. It's Kincaid, I believe.
Yeah, he won't be.
And I think Shakir is becoming more of a better, more consistent option than him. And at this moment, I think Davis is the second boundary wide receiver, and I think he got benched. I want to say he got benched in the 4th quarter because we saw it Sherfield more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Trent was out there. I agree with you.
He made the nice catch. He had also, talking about coaching, that was the stupidest challenge I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's where you decide to be aggressive, right?
Okay, you can't waste that time.
No, you needed the 2 timeouts.
At the end of the day, it didn't matter because they would have lost. I believe even with that set of downs because they would have called timeout. Whatever, and they would have had 10 seconds because he went out of bounds actually, but Mixon did. But no, that was a bad challenge. But yeah, Sherfield was in, so I think we're starting to see maybe Gabe Davis' snap count go down, which would be kind of interesting to see what happens with that. I want to see a little bit more Hardy. He only had 4 snaps, but I guess we'll see with that. I don't fully know what's going on with that, but yeah, Shakir, Kincaid. I think the two big dogs are going to be Diggs and Kincaid. I think Shakir's going to develop into that third option, and
Yeah,
whatever's left over is whatever left over for whoever plays that second outside receiver. Will it be Davis? Will it be Sherfield? Will it be Hardy?
right.
Or even I like James Cook out of the backfield. The run game, they abandoned the run game. It was just, I don't know, it was weird. They didn't run the ball particularly well, but I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more runs, but maybe not on. Maybe a little bit more, second short runs. I don't know. I would have.
No, right. I understand.
I don't love starting a drive off of a run. I would like to throw on first down. But yeah, it was and then obviously special teams. Just I don't know who was telling Ty Johnson to take a return and get tackled at the 15, but they must have had some kind of game plan out there. But yeah, just really bad.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it in the beginning. Or I did at least, that I didn't understand the going away from tempo, even if it's loud in the stadium. That shouldn't be the excuse. It's working. Stick with what's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't know. Like that's just kind of where I'm at least. I don't know.
The problem is they can't do tempo. They do not have the team to do tempo.
Right. I understand that, but
that's what I'm saying. They can't do tempo.
Tempo is one thing.
You can't do tempo all the time.
Tempo is one thing, but let the quarterback be the quarterback. Like, let it go. Like, you're.
What does that even mean?
Like, you're not letting Josh run right out of the gate in the fourth quarter, like you alluded to. That's when they really opened that up. Stop holding that back. Just let them go out.
He has a shoulder injury that he can't even.
He was off the injury report. He's a full participant.
He can't even warm up before the game, Joe. He wasn't even he didn't even warm up before the game. He threw right when he got. I don't know, it was the pads.
I don't know. Listen, pending the shoulder injury, whatever, I just think you need to let the offense just be the offense that it was and stop trying to make it into something it's not, which is...
I think the offense is too basic, and I think it's too predictable. I think that's the problem. It's too easy for...
Right, you got to go play backyard football, which is unpredictable. Like, that's when the Bills are their best.
It's not backyard football. I think they need to become more creative. I think they talk a lot about simplifying. I think they need to actually add some creativity and complicate stuff a little bit, make it harder for the defense to know what they're in. A lot of the times the Bills run these beaters on half fields, and when they're taken away, they don't really have another option to throw the ball to. So I think that's the big problem. I understand the tempo point, and I do think there needs to be a conversation about that, but the problem with tempo is that the Bills scored that touchdown in 3 minutes and 15 seconds going on tempo. The Bengals scored their touchdown in about 6 minutes and then had another touchdown drive that lasted another 5.5 minutes. So at that point, your defense was on the field. Now, I know they had to get off the field, but your defense is on the field for 11 minutes and you're 14 minutes into the game. That's why they can't. That's why on the second, and they also go. Then they go 3 and out, pretty much. They pretty much go 3 and out, 5 and out, and that took 1:40. So, like, we're not even at the end of the first quarter, and your defense is back on the field, and they've played, 70%, 75% of the time of possession?
Yeah.
That's the problem with tempo. I'm all for, hey, should we go a little bit faster? Yes. I think they had the right mix of it in the fourth quarter. Now, unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, they needed to go a little bit faster, but, I like their pace in the fourth quarter.
Right, it was up tempo, but it wasn't tempo. You know what I mean?
Their pace in the fourth quarter, I thought, was, their pace on the touchdown drive. They scored in 4 minutes, 12 plays. They scored in 4.5 minutes. I thought that was a perfect. They said the other drive that was 4 minutes on 9 plays when Kincaid fumbled. I thought that was the perfect tempo. I like tempo, but it's about, as McDermott says, complementary football, and they don't have the defense
to do that
all game, which is why that's my only caveat.
No, I understand. I understand what you're saying too. It's just like, slowing the game way down is not working, and you have a predictable offense like you alluded to. That's not gonna win you football games, like you said. If they can move it to what it looked like in the fourth quarter, not exactly full on tempo, but a little upbeat from like what they were doing the rest of the game, and maybe not complicate, but make it a little more interesting on the offensive schemes. That was it.
I will say this though, and this is my only caveat of this, is that I'm all for tempo. They don't have the defense to go tempo all the way, and I think what happened is McDermott and Dorsey talked and was like, hey, like, the defense is gassed. Like, we have to slow it down a little bit because they're gassed. And then they went 4 and out, ball right back.
Yeah.
And then they had the interception on 2 plays. And then they had another 3 and out. So
slowing it down wasn't helping. It actually effectively made it worse on the defense. Do you know what I'm saying?
no, that's on the offense for not executing.
Right, but what I'm saying is
No, but the offense still has to execute. No, Joe, those are terrible possessions.
it's also the play calling too.
Yes, there's a difference between calling a game and play calling. Yes, there's a difference between the two.
I understand that. I'm not saying there's not.
I'm agreeing with you. There's a difference between calling a game and play calling.
Yeah, calling the plays. They're not calling the right plays out there, and you're giving the ball back to the Cincinnati offense quick and putting the defense right back out there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, you effectively trying to slow it down did not help.
But Joe, in those moments, I don't mind them slowing it down because the defense was gassed.
No, I listen.
So
Listen.
the same thing could have happened. They could have ran up tempo, did those 4 plays that they ran, still got off the field, and it would have been a minute. I understood what they were doing. I think the frustration is too many times on first down they're running the ball for 3 yards, or on first down they're throwing an incompletion. Like, they need to start. I think this is the perfect thing that I saw on the first drive for the Bengals. The Bengals were successful because they had, I believe, 1 third down that was 3rd and 2, but they consistently converted on 2nd down for another first down. Why? It's because they won the down on first down. They got 7 to 8 yards. It was always 2nd short, and then that let them, hey, maybe we run the. Okay, we got 7 to 8 yards. We could take a shot. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's 3rd down, or we could run a 5-yard play. Boom, first down. Let's move the chains. Another first down play, or we could run the ball for 3 yards because we feel confident in our offensive line to get 3 yards on the ground. Boom, first down. That's the thing, is that I'm all for tempo, but it's not just the offense that dictates when to use tempo. It's the entire team. Mm-hmm. And yes, that could be a criticism of McDermott of, hey, we go tempo all the time, doesn't matter. But their defense is not in a position where they can afford to go in tempo the entire game and play. They have to get some time possession. You saw it on Sunday, the big time possessions. It's like the Bills in the Super Bowl. Like,
that's right.
Like, the great thing about the K-Gon is that, it was fast and all that. And then the Super Bowl, when a team was able to possess the ball a lot, the K-Gon only had the ball for 19 minutes in that game? Like, I'm not saying it was that bad, but like, that's the thing for the Bills, is that they just have to do a better job of executing offensively, tempo or not tempo. Like, tempo, I think, yes. Do I think they work better in tempo? So I think there needs to be a middle ground of like,
that's where I stand. Yeah.
But just saying, we need to be in tempo. Like, I somewhat agree with that, but also like they didn't run the ball effectively. Mm-mm. Josh made a bonehead interception. They had a turnover in the red zone, and they consistently shot themselves in the foot with stupid penalties. And Josh didn't play well sometimes at certain spots of not getting the open man. So it's coaching, it's players. It's just, my gosh, It is poor to just blame one side. It's both sides.
Yeah, you kind of gotta. It's a collective blame. There's a lot of blame pie to go around,
and it is incredibly frustrating to watch because, again, as I alluded to, this game was definitely in doubt. It wasn't. There was moments where you felt like if the Bills could put together a drive, get to one score with 10 minutes to go, what they were going to do before the fumble, they could see. But I apologize. I completely blanked. I thought we were on the down. I thought we were on the 5th.
We only hit 4.
That was, well, I mean, it all stayed with the down 4 topic, so we're all good. So down 5. Sorry, produce. Please stay healthy. Yeah.
That was rough seeing possible
it's just
Micah Hyde injury and then Terrell Bernard. Right, he's the other one. Yeah.
It's so tough to watch.
The defense is just losing players every week at this point.
So
it's
Terrell
ridiculous.
Bernard is concussed.
Yep.
I think that was announced. They think Tane Jackson may have symptoms. Christian Benford has a hamstring injury. He didn't play in the second half at all. And who's his name? Michael Hyde I think they have a neck injury. And I believe what McDermott said, I might be wrong of the player, but pretty much he said we'll see on all of them, except he thinks Dane Jackson's is definitely short term. So I think Dane Jackson, they may have thought had a concussion, maybe doesn't have a concussion. Mm-hmm. So
that's positive.
So I guess that's why you get Rasul Douglas. Oh wait, we have Kyrie on IR too. So I mean, this is just like,
yeah, it's It's a cluster. It's not good. Every week I feel the heart sink all of a sudden when you see defensive players going down for the Bills, and it's just nonstop. And
Von's not all the way back.
No.
And probably won't be the entire year. It's
Yep.
just it's a tough situation to be in, man. I just stay healthy. Like, just whatever. I mean, this defense is stuck together with duct tape. The offense can't run.
More like Elmer's glue at this point.
Or Gorilla Glue. The offense can't run the ball consistently. They can't stay on the field consistently. They can't finish drives when they get a little bit of a roll.
Nope.
Special teams is so inconsistent. It's like
all three phases are not playing, like you said, complementary football at all. It's just
your reward is Monday Night Football at home against the Denver Broncos. So it's the definition of a get right game, and they're gonna have to get right. But
yeah,
that is the Dom 5.
Yeah, I mean, you're one game off of 500. The Broncos game, like you said, yeah, you have to get that one right. If you don't get that one right, we have serious questions heading towards the end of the season. Well, they got to
win the next 2 games and see where we're at going into Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's Broncos, and then it's Jets and then Philly.
So win your 2 home games. Let's see where we are. 7-4 on there in Philadelphia before the bye. Maybe we get Dawson Knox back.
That'd be nice to have two solid tight ends back playing.
So we'll see. I mean, it's a simple fact of they just gotta. It's a week-to-week league, and they gotta play a little bit more consistently offensively. They need to figure out the best way, hopefully, to stay healthy defensively and best system for them to use. And
I think that actually wraps up what anyone said the best. Just that sigh, really. Yeah, just I think that's honestly like I had to write a game summary for work. I got all these comments, shorter summary, just a poop emoji because no one was happy with the game. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like that's. I guess it's tough because we always look back on the Bills of our early lives, right? Like the early 2000s, early 2010s, where EJ Manuel was leading the squad in the early 2010s, right? And it's like. It's not that bad, right? This feels bad because from the past 3-4 years, this is definitely the worst I've felt mid-season at this point, I would say. You know what I mean? Not like that I'm 100% out. That's not it at all. It's just a couple years ago, that divisional game they had against the Chiefs, they had 11 wins that year.
I think
like it could very well could make the run and look good.
It leads to this. This is probably the first time in 4 years that it just doesn't quite feel like the Bills are good enough compared to the top dogs.
The vibes are gone.
So
it feels like a little bit.
Yeah, the vibes seem to be gone, and I don't know what they're gonna do to him this season. I think it seems like it's just seeming more and more like this is gonna be, unfortunately, a lost season. And you have Josh Allen mostly. I know he's not entirely healthy, but to kind of lose a year of that would be tough. But listen, they're 5-4. They have an opportunity in front of them. Again, as I alluded to in the beginning of the show, their 8 games, I truly believe that if they play even their best if they get healthy, because they have 2 weeks to kind of get healthy. If they win their 2 games, and I still think they could beat mostly everyone, but I don't know if they can consistently do it. So I don't think that's what I think they could still make the playoffs, and I think they will, but I don't think they're really I don't think they have a good chance to win the Super Bowl.
Now would be the time to bet them, though, if they do get hot. I will say that. If you throw the odds right now on the Bills, but I mean, it's not worth it at this point. If the Bills, like you said, can start winning on first down, second and 3, second and 4, playing like that instead of whiffing on the first down, and then you have second and third to figure it out, I think we could see an offensive revival. I think they know it, too. It's just this defense is so depleted at this point. It's just kind of not the same as it. You lost Milano and Daquan Jones. You thought, oh, right there, that's rough, right? That's there goes the defensive production. Defense actually holds up. You just keep dropping more and more guys every week. That's just.
Well, I mean, on the touchdown, you have second and 1,
Mm-hmm.
second and 10 because you got an incompletion from the Sherfree, but then that was 3rd and 1, second and 7, and then.
Right, like you said, they're winning first down, and then it's second and short.
And then they had 3rd and 1 and touchdown. Like, they were living in those kind of good areas. So
where the Bengals resided for the majority of that game, right? I mean, that's what you were mentioning. It's just yeah, and the Bengals are a really good football team. We knew that. That's why you picked them to win. Joe Burrow's healthy, looks really healthy. You heard Collinsworth mentioning it all night on the broadcast. This is the Joe Burrow we saw last season. This is the Bengals we saw last season. Like, it is. And these are not the Bills we saw for most of last season. So whether that's injury related or just they need to, again, play complementary football and get on the same page, I think you're going to see an uptick either way towards the end of the season. But like you said, they'll make the playoffs. I don't know if I can justify them as a Super Bowl pick as of right now.
Nope, but we'll be hoping.
Listen, we are a Buffalo podcast, so there will never not be a moment where we're hoping. It's just we don't want to be hopelessly optimistic without any base at that point. You know what I mean? Okay. There's being optimistic, and then there's hopeless optimism, and we don't want to be hopeless optimism. So we'll be real. And this is one of those weeks where you have to be real and just take a look and be like, this ain't it. This isn't what you want to be watching every Sunday in prime time.
As I said, they have a get-right game against Denver.
Yep.
They have a tough divisional game at home. And then, again, just get to 7-4 and see where you're at. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest thing for me is that if they get to 7-4 and we'll go into Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a team that, they're 8-1, but I think they're a team that has definitely weaknesses that the Bills can score on at least. I don't know if they could stop them per se, but they play Dallas at home, so that's a home game. And, the Chargers, well, it's in LA, and I think that's a tough game. It's not like the Chargers or the Bengals in my mind, so let's go, man. I don't know. And then they play Miami, which is a team that they've done
48-20.
Had a lot of success again. So let's go, man. I don't know.
I go Bills. We'll see what happens.
Onto the fighting Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, 6-6 on the season, 500 to start out. Had some ups and downs. The goat head game, the one they've lost in pitiful fashion against Philly at home, that was tough. But hey, you beat the Maple Leafs, and that's always good to beat the Maple Leafs, right? It's always what you're looking for.
Too.
Yeah, in regulation. So
it's a nice win. It's a good bounce back win.
Yeah,
I think it's nice to see Levi come back and put together a good 60 minutes of action. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of weird stuff going on with the Sabres right now, though, even though they're 6-6. I mean, Benson going to IR. You now have Biro going to IR. Shocker, Matthias Samuelsson went to IR. So now
I think I was floored by that when I saw it.
But at least we get to see Ryan Johnson. Hopefully when and Dylan Cousins gets into a fight with 2 minutes to go with a guy above his weight class and probably concussed himself, I would assume.
Oh my God!
I don't think he didn't play against Toronto. I don't think he's playing tonight either, and they said yesterday it was going to take a few days for him to get back to practice. So, that's really frustrating. Listen, I thought the same thing about Tuck, too, when he fought, Brady Tkachuk and kind of got whooped as well. He's lucky he didn't get injured.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has the battle scars from that, and they're cool and all, but, it's a little different when you're a rookie or a guy without a big contract. But for Cousins and Tuck, Tuck's underpaid, but Cousins making $7 million plus, you really just can't afford not to have that in your lineup. And I think, was that a smart decision? Was that going to impact the game? No. Was that a message? Sure. But
yeah, it still, like you said, could have done without that.
You're playing a team in the Flyers that have nothing to lose. You're fighting a guy that has nothing to lose, who's known to be a good fighter. If you're going to fight someone, probably not pick that guy, but if you are, just protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't protect himself, and now the Sabres are going to have 2 games, maybe even more games without their second-line center, and that's really unfortunate.
Very unfortunate, yeah.
But we see Matt Savoy get called up from the AHL, so I'm intrigued to see if he gets an opportunity to play now with obviously Benson on IR. And listen, Tuck's come alive.
He has.
Those 2 big goals in the third period against the Maple Leafs. I think Dahlin, maybe that third period gets him going, because I thought he was pretty underwhelming. He's been pretty underwhelming to the first 12 games. I think Power, again, as I've alluded to, he's been their best player.
He has.
I think Thompson's come alive as well. So I think the guys are coming alive a little bit. Obviously, Middlestat is playing really well. I think J.J. Paterka's a dude now.
Mm-hmm. He is, actually. You're right. I mean, I've been very happy with how he's played.
He's officially on dude watch.
Yes.
He is a dude.
Yeah. And that's a kind of a question, not a question mark, but we kind of thought we knew what he was, and he's kind of bumping up expectations.
Coming back to our questions of unanswered questions or whatever it is.
Answers for unanswered questions.
Whatever it was. I think one of the questions was, is JJ going to break out without Jack Quinn after his World Championship performance? And I think the answer to that question so far, through 12 games, is absolutely. So him being a legit top 6 forward right now really helps, and getting Cousins back will help. I'm growing more and more frustrated that Yuri Kulik is not getting an opportunity to play.
Yeah.
He's just sitting there in the AHL while we watch Olofsson. I don't understand. Okay, I just don't understand the meaning of having Victor Olofsson on your team. I don't, especially because I believe I'm pretty sure they scratched him against the Flyers when they put Ruzak and Byro in. I just want to double check that before I said something incorrect. Yeah, they did. It's just that to me is slightly pathetic. I'm just gonna say it. It's pathetic. I don't understand. Now I understand the Byro situation because he was gonna be the 13th forward that they didn't keep 3 goalies, so I understand we're winning him. But having Ruzak come up, I think is just lame. I mean, he was a -2 in that game and he was awful.
Yeah, no, that was I was against that too.
Both awful. I know he had a big goal, Byro, but now he's on IR. But
which is great. You gotta be kidding me.
Yuri Kulik has played really well so far in the AHL, better than he did last year. And
yeah.
The concern is, we don't know if he's gonna be able to play defense or whatever. His 2-way game.
Try.
Like, did we just not learn this lesson last calendar year of Jack Quinn?
Give him the opportunity.
Jack Quinn in Rochester, his second year in Rochester, was awful defensively. I mean, he was a great offensive player, but
yeah,
that was the big concern going in. Was like,
could he play defense?
And he was arguably their best. I'm not just gonna say best defensive forward, but arguably among their top 6, maybe their best 2-way forward.
Yeah.
And so, can we just not? Even if he's, I don't know, man. You're just gonna try. Like, what is the point of having Victor Olofsson on your active roster if you're going to start 2 AHLers over him?
Yeah.
At that point, just waive him. Who is picking? Just waive him to Rochester. Who is picking up that contract? Or if not, I'm being serious. If you're like, we don't waive him, trade him for a 7th. If trade him for whatever he wants, but no one is going to take that contract. If they do, thank you. That's $5 million off our books.
Yeah, thank God. Listen.
I think Terry would be pretty happy about that too.
Yeah, Olofsson could just.
There's no point of having. There's no point of if you're gonna have those 2 guys. So we're just having Yuri Kulik sit in the AHL. Now I like that Matt Savoy's gonna get an opportunity coming up. I'm excited to see what he does because maybe he flourishes and he's.
Well, that'd be awesome if he could flourish and stay. Young talent like that, and just to see young guys get an opportunity. I mean, this goes back to. I remember a conversation we were having on one of our first. It might have been the first episode with Vinny Hinostroza in the conversation. And when do we start rewarding our prospects for playing well and giving them the opportunity? Time to give them the opportunity. You're at 500. Imagine if they come up and surprise. And then you're like, well, we did it. You know what I mean? If, like you said, Jack Quinn's second year in Rochester, not great defensively. And then he comes up to the Sabres and flourishes and has a great defensive season. What are we doing? Come on. Give him the opportunity. Give the dog the bone once in a while and let him just have fun with it. Give him the opportunity. You're never going to know if you just leave him down there.
I just find it frustrating that the blockade is Olofsson.
Yeah.
But again, Byro, I understand giving him a game or 2.
All right, because you said.
He earned it. He earned it. They just didn't keep him because they wanted 3 goaltenders, which didn't work out. But I understood that part of it. Olofsson, who you're not even playing, I don't understand why Lucas Ruzak gets called up. It just comes down to then you have, Yost, Oposo, Gergensons, guys that are good in the locker room and, they play that 4th-line role, and they're not getting rolled or anything. They're not getting on the field, getting the ice and just getting dominated, but they're not providing any offense, so it's just kind of boring when they're out there.
Yeah.
But it's those guys are also somewhat, in a way, blocking Kulik.
Yep.
I just find that frustrating, because,
it can be. I do as well.
Why can't we get a couple games, and if he struggles, it's okay, now we know, he needs more time. But, he struggled in the preseason, and we're going to, now he's red hot in the American League, and we're just not going to call him up.
Just to test him again. I get it. Granado's been all about the experimentation towards the end of the season, right? We saw that when they're not in the playoffs.
But Joe, he might be a top. I think he is, but he might be one of their top 12 forwards in the entire organization.
I'm not arguing that. I'm saying it's time to experiment. I'm not saying at the end of the season. I'm saying let's do it now.
But right now,
come on.
how many forwards are better than Yuri Kulik? Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously the top three of Tuck, Thompson, Skinner, no. Cousins, Middlestat, Peterka, no. That's 6.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
can we start what is it?
But like,
GoFund.
honestly,
Now, what is the signing sheet where the petition?
I mean,
went?
like what? You have Krebs.
Something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll start one.
But look at it from that perspective. And then you have like Oposo, Gergensen, Yost, and you're like, all right, they have to play roles, so they play roles. So then you have 3 spots left, and it's like, all right, I guess it's Greenway. I'm sorry, I knew I was blanking on someone. Greenway has actually played really terrific. I gotta give him a slap.
Yes, yeah.
I knew I was blanking on someone. I hope I'm not blanking anyone else. Now I gotta pull up the roster. I did this.
Listen, Greenway was a big slip up because that guy's been an absolute animal this season so far. I've been very happy with Greenway. But
it's like, okay, like then you have 2 spots left, and it's like, okay, I guess we'll give Matt Savoy a chance. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Payne Krebs has not looked great at all. I know he's tied up 2 bone anchors, and
still,
I want him to have more opportunity, but like Cousins is not even playing right now, so that's another forward that's not even playing right now. I find it incredibly frustrating, and now also we have 8 defensemen up. I'm sorry, it might be 7 because Samuelson's on IR, but I don't know, man. It's frustrating me because I think Kulik could have an opportunity to be like, you could probably make a good case that he could be the 8th best forward on the Buffalo Sabres roster right now when everyone's healthy. I know I'm probably blanking on someone, but like it just frustrates me that we're not going to give this guy an opportunity because of Lucas Ruzek.
Yeah.
Or Victor Olofsson.
Right. Olofsson is the most frustrating one.
Again,
I think.
If you're going to give Savoy the opportunity because it's condition, I understand the Savoy thing too. I understood the Biro. I understood the Savoy because Savoy's conditioning assignment's done, and he's either going to go back to juniors or he has to play in the NHL. So playing him his games
makes perfect sense.
I want to see Matt Savoy too.
Yes.
And I understand you're trying to win it over, but this is my point though. If you're trying to win, again, I think Yuri Kulik gives you the better chance to win than Lucas Ruzek.
100%.
And I'm interested to see what the forwards are. I'm very interested in the forwards. I did read that they went 11-7 last game in Toronto. They're going 12-6, but Bryson's cut. Ryan Johnson stays in, which I like. Ryan Johnson, I always thought this. Ryan Johnson was the true 7th defenseman on the team. He wasn't quote unquote the 7th defenseman on the team.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. I listen. I'm all for giving these guys the opportunity because guess what? Like you said, Kulik could give you that X factor. Like you don't know. Let's just do it. Come on.
I thought it was silly when Clifton got spun in 2 games that they didn't call up. Well, I don't think that, and maybe they couldn't have called. I made a mistake. I don't think you could call up someone when someone's suspended. So
I don't know if you can.
I don't think you can. So I understood that, but once the IR Samuelson, I think that just showed that Ryan Johnson, once the roster spread open, was going to be playing over Jacob Bryson. So
well, I would hope so because Bryson's just a dumpster fire in my opinion.
He wasn't bad in some cases. Like he wasn't terrible in his short role, but yeah, he had a couple of games that weren't great. But
yeah.
Johnson had a really nice pass on that Skinner goal. I got his first career NHL point, so I'm excited to see him, get more opportunity. Maybe he runs with it, and it's a situation where it's like, okay, between Eric Johnson and Connor Clifton, and Connor Clifton's played really well. I think he's been a really good forward, and I think Yoki Haru. I know it's because he's playing a power who's played really well, but even with that, I think Yoki Haru has played well. Samuelson's been all right. I think Galin is kind of underperforming compared to what I think he could become.
Right.
Not become. I'm sorry, because he's already
what he can achieve.
What he can achieve. I just feel like he's getting the points and he's playing well defensively. It just feels like his passing is not.
It's not.
He
where
has moments where it's like, oh my god, that was a great pass.
Right.
Like, why can't you consistent like the goal of New Jersey? Like when he threw in Samuelson's skates and then all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 back. It's like. And they score, and it's like, oh my god, like that was such an easy.
Yeah. That was a whiff, absolutely. And listen, the guy skates like a figure skater. It's like nothing you've ever seen. For whatever, when I watch him just skate in warm-ups, very elegant, yeah. And also, since he's gotten that money, the guy's just an absolute Terminator out there on the ice, just hitting like big hits too. So he's definitely on the upside. Like you said, though, the passing, if he can get that dialed in, we're looking at a dream defenseman right there. You know what I mean? Like,
and I guess. my final rant before we could move on to my
your bonus.
A bonus sports take I have that I came up with like 10 minutes before shooting. I'm frustrated by the fact of we're rolling with Levi UPL, which could have been predictable because of Comrie's injury history. So I'm frustrated by that. UPL hasn't been necessarily awful. He wasn't good last game against the Flyers, and you would like to see him make some saves. He hasn't been awful. I think Levi's been pretty good. Again, he's coming back from injury, so it was nice to see. I wonder who's. I don't think I've seen who was the starting goaltender tonight, but it's frustrating that we're kind of in the situation we were last year of now it's not even 3 goals. It's not even having Craig Anderson. It's having 2 mostly unproven guys.
Yeah.
In the net, which is frustrating. And then, I mean, I don't know what more we could say about Matthias Samuelsson and his health. I just don't. He missed the third period of the game that we went to.
Yep, he did. Yeah.
That really probably hurt them, and then they gave the tying goal in the third.
Did.
They won that game, but
but you take it to overtime instead of regulation. You know what I mean? And
you let Tampa get another point.
Yeah.
It
was it's a loss when he's not out there, and he's just injury prone.
Solid. Mm-hmm. He's solid. I think. I don't know. It's interesting. That seems like the contract that they signed, that long-term deal, and it just seems like that contract will never be a steal because he just won't play enough.
No, he won't. He won't have the sample size to make it worth anything.
It's just frustrating to me that I think this was the biggest component. Now I know. Now I was just punting the table. I'm happy Ryan Johnson gets the opportunity. I'm happy that Ryan Johnson gets the opportunity. I'm not trying to say that I'm not. But
no. I'm excited too.
I'm frustrated, and Clifton has played really well. And Eric Johnson sucks. So kind of could have predicted that a little bit. But
yeah,
kind of Clifton that sign looks pretty
No, it looks really good.
I mean, he's
an
upgrade over Labushkin, which is nice. And
no gummy bear though.
Better, and Johnson looks nice and whatever. But I just think that's my frustration is that this is another thing, guy that you knew had an injury history. Same thing of Comrie, same thing of Samuelsson. Both guys have injury histories, and yes, you add depth, okay, but you don't replace. You're not replacing Samuelsson in the top 4. So
no,
I think that's just my frustration is that both those, Scott, you don't want to root for injuries. I'm not rooting for injuries, but you have to be, especially in hockey, how beat up you get. You have to prepare for the worst sometimes. You have to be ready for it. It doesn't seem like they were quite prepared for that, which is why I'm a little annoyed by it. But listen, they're 6-6. They're playing better hockey. Obviously, it's annoying that you drop a game at home to the Flyers, 5-1 in a game that you were never in.
No.
But they're in Carolina, which is a tough game, at home against Minnesota on Friday. Obviously, they're in Carolina tonight, I should say. Home Friday against Minnesota, and then at Pittsburgh in a back-to-back with the Minnesota game on Saturday. So
yeah,
I'm gonna go that they're gonna go 2-1-0. I think they get 4 to the 6 points again.
I think they go 2-0-1. I think they get 5 of the 6. I think they drop 1 in OT. Listen, you're 500 right now. You're at 6-6. There's 70 games left.
A lot of season in front of them. They have
there's a lot of season in front of them, and they're a good spot. They're in a very good spot. The team is honestly, like you said, starting to come alive. It looks like Tuck absolutely dead silent for the first few games, and now he's back to what we were kind of expecting out of him, and I think they'll only get better as they go through the season and get hot, like we saw last year. And it won't just be a 2% chance to make the playoffs. Yeah, they do. They need a winning streak.
They've won back-to-back games once all year. They've won 3 or 4 coming into this game because they only lost to the Flyers, and they won the back-to-back, then lost them.
It's time.
This you just beat your rival. You dominated them. I know the score. They got some not fluky goals, but it was kind of oh my god, that whatever. But you dominated your rivals in their building. You need to take that momentum that you have and run with it. And next man up, Ryan Johnson's in. Matt Savoy, I don't know if he'll play. I don't think he's playing tonight. I didn't look at the lines. I haven't seen the lines, I should say, but yeah.
Hopefully next week we've got some wins to talk to you about.
2-1-0. I thought Power was going to get the guy, but I think Power scored this week, so good for you, my boy, my prince with the lettuce. Yeah. My player of the week is going to be. I don't think we talk enough about this. We kind of talk about points or who's going to low defenseman. I'm gonna go Devin Levi. I think he gets his first career shutout this week.
I love it. I mean, we saw UPL get the shutout, right? I mean, and then absolutely just burn in that Philadelphia home game. But that's what you get when you start UPL, honestly. Like we talked about it, the hots and the colds, up and down. But listen, I think we're going to see Jeff Skinner just go nuts this week. I really do. I think we're going to hear. Yeah, he's going to soar. He's going to fly, and there's not a star in heaven he can't reach. I think he's gonna explode this week. I truthfully do. And you know what? Maybe Sabres are on the power play. He's on it. He actually does something. You know what I mean? I think
he ends up turning the puck over.
Yes, yeah. Instead of turning the puck over, he contributes to the 5-on-4, and I think we see that out of Jeff Skinner this week.
Nice. All right.
And then the next week, though, we record the pod, and then we go see the Bruins.
I know the 10-1 and the freaking Bruins.
Yeah.
They will the curse that will never quite die.
Unfortunately,
sickness that will never quite be cured. But
no. Now we're here. We're not going to talk fantasy football.
Yes, we won't talk fantasy football this week. We'll give it a week's rest.
Your take.
My take.
Should we do this? Should we make this a segment? The hot takes of the week.
I find bowling much more pleasing to do than golf.
Agreed. I'm that's not even I get frustrated.
And I say this to the guy. I enjoy going to golf. I enjoy golfing. I enjoy going to golf. God. I enjoy golfing. I enjoy going to the range. I don't have a great time going out to courses.
No.
Just because I'm awful. I'm awful.
I mean, we had fun one time when we went. We absolutely almost destroyed this golf cart. I mean, that was really
also
it.
like 40 degrees.
It was. It was raining as well.
I
so
think golfing with the boys always have some fun to it. But like the actual experience of golfing is just you lose so many balls and like it's like, oh my god, I lost like $20 worth of balls.
Well, especially this guy. He keeps dropping them. When he shanks it, he drops another one. Yeah.
You're not even good. I'm not even saying I'm a good bowler. Like the first game I bowled was a 50, and the second game I bowled was a 114. I'm just not saying those are great scores, but
I mean, we should walk to the bowling alley. It's right outside the studio.
Like bowling, at least feel like you're bad the first game, but at least you kind of get in a rhythm where like, okay, every once in a while I get a strike, which is fun and all that. Like, how often do you go like, oh my god, that was a great hole. Oh my god, I just parred the hole. Maybe once every like.
I just eagled.
15.
Never eagled.
I've birdied like one hole.
Listen,
maybe 3 in my life.
Bowling, I enjoy a lot more simply because I'm halfway decent at it. The highest score I've ever achieved, 265. High school gym class.
I find that incredibly hard to believe.
You don't remember last year we went to Geneseo? I absolutely murked all of you guys in bowling. My highest score was a 210.
I was not paying attention to what was happening.
Yeah, my highest score there was a 210. I was 3 years removed. We're going to the bowling alley then. We're gonna put it to the test.
There's other circumstances during that trip that were taking my attention, but no, bowling.
No, we're not going to comment on
bowling. Is incredibly fun.
I love it because also you can get some nice bar food laid right next to you, and on the course you can.
And the great thing about bowling is like for golf you could probably bring 4 dudes, but it just takes over. Like bowling is quick. Like if you get
people are paying attention and actually
if you get a lane for like 2 hours, 2 lanes, 4 dudes. That's 8 of your boys, and you probably bowl like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the thing of whoever's bowling with you in the lane needs to be realizing of the time being wasted.
And it's also like, even if you throw a gutter ball, like it's not as frustrating as just shanking a golf ball and then having to walk the 20 feet to the right.
Right, play it where it lies. I mean, that could be in the middle of the swamp.
The bowling, it's like, okay, like whatever, like, and then you get 2 throws. Like you already get a mulligan.
Yeah. No, we will have to go bowling. That'd be fun.
That's my hot take. Also, you don't have to be outside too, so it's not weather dependent.
No.
And the bowling shoes are kind of fun to slide in.
So here's my question now. Okay, there's bowling. Is curling just ice bowling, but different a little bit? Ice bowling with a twist.
I mean,
similar.
It's different though, because bowling you're throwing it to knock something over, while curling you're throwing to hit a specific target.
Right. You know yeah. I mean? Maybe we should make a hybrid game of curling and bowling. Ice bowling.
How would that even work?
You slide up like a curling thing, but you're hitting pins instead of trying to. You know what I mean? You just make a baby with bowling and curling. That's basically all you do.
I feel like that would be like.
It'd be very logistically horrible, but I mean.
I mean, the best comparison for curling is bocce.
Yeah. Shuffleboard or something.
Oh, shuffleboard. Yeah, that's really better. That's really better. My Italian blood gotten, But no, we finished bowling. The only thing that's bad about bowling, I'll say this, is that, and this happens to golf too. So my little backhoes. For whatever reason, my throwing ring finger was killing me after bowling, and like a little bit of my shoulder was sore. But like after golf, man, you're like on the lam for like a day or two. How old we are. Like the back is not 100% after golfing, and
No, you feel either you tweak it on a swing if you lose your footing, or it's just sore after doing it.
And the best part about golfing too, the best part about bowling too, is even if you throw a couple gutter balls,
You're in the game.
there's always like some person in your party of 8 that like is doing worse than you that you could also laugh with.
It's like the punishment fantasy football league we're in. There's always someone doing worse.
It's also just,
It's
it's like also like it's more enjoyable playing bowling of 2 guys that aren't great bowling than playing of golf of 2 guys that aren't good golfers.
right. Because you can.
'Cause at least you can laugh more at your misery in bowling. Like, oh my god, like
No, but golf, you're out in the elements. You're just miserable, all of you.
One of our friends, I kid you not, had 1 pin through 6 frames.
I didn't even hear about this. After the show, you're gonna have to tell me who.
On the
Was it Greg?
he made an appearance once on the
Oh, statistician? Is that who it is?
So then the I'll expose myself. He then came back and bowled a 52, which then beat my 50. So
Oh my
but
God.
that was enjoyable because it went down to the last frame, and it's like, oh my god, like I had to get a certain amount of pins. Like that's like I'll tell you, we have to end here in like a little bit because I had to leave. But the best part was one of our friends bowled a 118 the first game.
Mm-hmm.
Second game, we're at the end. They already finished. I bowled back-to-back strikes in the 8th and 9th, and I needed, I believe, 14 pins to win or something. I was like at a 94? No, I was at, I don't know what I was because it was strikes and like you had to throw or whatever because you used to throw. First 8. If I would have made the 2 for the spare, I would have needed to knock down, I believe, 5 pins because if I would have made the spare, I would have been at 115. I would have had knocked down 4 pins in the next row, I think, to win. I don't know. Bowling math sometimes confuses me. You need to knock them both down. Only was able to knock down 1. But like, that's what's intense. Like
It's fun.
You never in golf, like, no one keeps score well enough because you just cheese the score to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, right.
Like,
yeah.
You'd be like, oh man, if I get a 4 in this hole and you get a 7, like, I win.
Yeah.
But like no one's like, oh, no one. It's not realistic to do.
No, but
and
bowling, it's right
like,
in front of you.
Bowling,
Yeah.
you can. Like there's like everyone could get it, even if you're the worst bowler. The guy that got 1 pin 6, he hit a strike.
Yeah.
No, but ain't no one ever gonna be like, oh man, I could have a chance for a hole in 1 here, or like I could hit this shot on the green. It's like, no, it's not really likely. Like the likelihood of that, I don't know. That's why my take. Bowling is better than golf.
Yeah.
You get to have more of your friends there. It's more enjoyable even when you're blow. Food. You get to be as loud as you want. You get to be as hyped as you want.
And midnight bowling with the lights.
Yep. You get to be as loud as you want. Like even when you hit a good shot in golf, it's like you can't scream because other people are golfing.
I mean, Happy Gilmore did it. He had some success.
Yeah, but that was a movie, Joseph.
He's also appearing in a new movie, by the way. I just want to point that out.
Happy Gilmore?
No, yeah, Adam Sandler as Happy Gilmore, but Will Ferrell's doing a Talladega Nights inspired golf movie about the Live tour, and Happy Gilmore is supposed to make an appearance. So it'll be exciting. There's a lot to look forward to. We should do bowling more often, but I think that's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian Podcast. I'm Joe Kelly. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, we're looking for a better week next week.
Still as always, though.
As always,
Go Bills, baby.
go Bills and go Sabres.